Alright, man, I've got a question before we start.
How do you feel about
dancers, roller skaters, man who have an annoyingly good skill around your girl? That's not a good question. Like too much, though, and they're sick at it. And you
even you gotta rate it a bit, like.
No, I don't.
No,
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you. Give a man credit.
No, it's cool. But
until your girl starts nodding,
if my girl likes it, I dislike it.
Oh my god!
See, if I said that, If I said that, would you not say that as? Nah, shush. Nah, stop that. Stop that.
You know what you have to do? You have to do a dance battle. Yeah.
He's gonna smoke me, bro.
You're gonna lose.
Just attempt.
Nah, he's gonna smoke me. So like, cool, dance battle. I'll just sweep his legs while no one's looking. Easy. No one will see me sweep his leg and be like, "Oh my gosh, why is Javette on the floor?"
Why is Javette?
Nah, it's just a random name, innit? It's the first name in my head.
Wow, this sounds a bit too personal.
No, it's genuine.
Yay.
No, but what I'm saying, how do you feel about a man that have a really good skill, like even skating, like, and you find out that your girl likes man that skates, and you just find this out?
What can you do?
You have to be a little bit just like, if you see in dances, yeah, when it's like, go do do, you're like, go do do, like, because you can't hate in it. You can't hate, so like, go, no, this one. Nah, this is they're like, hey.
Hey, yo. So you're talking about like girl that specifically like that talent, like the man can dance and your girl's like, oh my
it's
God.
not just dance, just like, anything that's like, and they're sick.
Hey, that was the one. Oh man. Do you know what? That reminds me of the conversation we had with Craig, the first one we did on like if the girl, or if say you're going out with a girl and she raps and you don't like it, and it's a thing of like you got.
He's not calling me on camera for that. And they agree.
We did.
Audience. You know what's mad? I'm doing this on because I think I don't know if we're in. I think we're in there. Are we in? Yeah. Bruv, audience, yeah. These man got onto me on air, off air. You know, both of them. Well, like to me. Oh,
no. Don't do that hands like this. We didn't do that. We didn't do that.
Let me finish. He's not even just. Fam, they were like to me, being honest, yeah, I couldn't date her still. I said, oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, just not his interpretation is not.
That's what happened though.
It's not.
Did you not say?
No. In some sort of words, we did agree with your point.
You agreed with me because I was right in the first place, bro.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Mm-hmm. But that's hilarious though, because I'm literally going. No, I'm not going through that now. I'm not going through that now. I've spoken to a person in it, and the person raps, and I've not heard their music, but I have, and it's not like that. I'm just like in a friendly way, innit?
Yeah. Well, no,
but sorry, can I just finish it?
Go on.
So the person's like, oh yeah, I like, no. See? This is narrative.
Oh, sorry. Stop
the narrative.
Alright, let me stop cooking them on this one.
Stop the narrative.
Did she ask you to plug her music?
No.
Hey, he had the Instagram in his hand. He's on the page. He's like, can you follow me? And then can you share my page?
I'm single. I'm single.
Anticipating.
Diplomat L, you know. No, I'm joking.
He has heard, but
I've not heard. No, I actually genuinely haven't heard anything. You don't know me, I say, boy. Not gonna lie.
Listen, babes.
Anyways.
Nah, it isn't a babes thing. Like, it's just a person I've conversed with. Again, I'm single, innit?
Okay, cool. What?
We know.
What I wanted to say was, because I brought up that point originally just to say that, like, the dynamic of you having to, obviously it's a different person involved in it if they're doing some sort of talent and she's into it, yeah. If she's looking at you and in whatever you're into, if she's not as supportive or she's not as excited, hey!
It's true, though. Then, you know what would be so funny? She'd be like, but you don't fucking support me. Yeah.
Because that's exactly what's gonna happen.
That's exactly because if he's not messing with the music, he's not gonna support her. Now she's not gonna support your team. What's happening now? You gotta support her, bro.
What? No, but for you, like, if you were dating a girl and she's seeing someone else dancing for her, well, not even for her, but just dancing, and she's all like
crazy excited. I'm questioning.
But is she with her brethren?
Nah,
That's another good piece of context. That's important. That's important.
If it's just
What?
you and her,
What?
and
Okay,
she's all
okay.
snapping,
Like,
you're
relax.
you're at a motive and she sees that and she's like, oh my god, yeah.
Who is she with at the moment?
You.
Is it me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
Because you can't do it. Because you can't do
Yeah,
it.
Jerry, I'm battling him.
And it's your favorite song as well. It's
No,
something you
I'm
would want to dance to, fam. And you know what? Because he's got he can skank in it. He's in the club. He's doing his
I'm a
thing.
movers, innit?
He can skank.
I'm a movers. I'm a skankers.
But this brother's doing something else. And
you
you can't
can
do
actually
it.
dance.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can dance as
He's
in.
got a diploma in dance.
Nah, he's a dancers, bro. As in, like, in the club with me. Every beat is clean. Like, and he's there inventing choreography and that. Like, he's doing his thing.
He's in sync with it. Yeah.
He's doing his thing.
You know when there's always that one circle in the club?
And he's the leader of the circle.
Yeah.
Good. That's funny.
But you know what? I don't actually like in terms of just like y'all in general. I don't think a lot of them like are enamored by that. In my head, I don't think they would be like they'd see that and be like, oh my god, she's dancing. Like
I think younger days, not now.
Yeah.
Because no one
when
dances
it was
like clubs, bruv. It's just bare gun fingers and uno don't right me. But thing on the ball.
I've seen
the biggest forward
I've seen.
Yeah. That's because us man are real man.
Maybe it depends on the age group as well.
The biggest forwards in the dance is, bruv. I was in awe, and not in good awe, in shock horror. Like when I heard, I said, what's going on? Like, why does all the women do the bar for bar? Like, no, bruv. Yo, dark. I hope that show is tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Hell no. Oh, too much violence, blood. And no guess this, not there.
He's had a taste of guest list. He don't want to be standing.
I'm never going back, blood. Get me? Nah, never. I'm good. I think it's interesting though, because we started off with men in it, and our reaction to our partners in it. So I think it's a good point to stick with men because we're men in it.
Okay.
So I think the ultimate stage of manhood is fatherhood, right? As in, in my opinion, you don't complete manhood until you become a father, not a dad. You're a father.
Explain that. Yeah, go on.
Because there are a lot of men that are dads. Do you get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And there's no even disrespect to being a dad, but it's like fatherhood is a different thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like providing. And I think often people get this misconception of the word provide that it means material. For me personally, I can only talk for myself, that it is important to have the material, but it should be a cultivation and a nurturing process at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's more than just materials, because do you know how many children are resentful of their dad? This is a great example. You see how everyone was like to Tariq, Tariq, your dad was there though. Like, but in Tariq's mind, it's like, but no, you wasn't there because you split up our family home and just paid for things. So yeah, you were fine that you were materially there. But you weren't there emotionally.
That's so crazy.
Nurturing.
That was the point.
Cultivating the time. Because Kanan was able to cultivate that
male role model.
That male role model aspect environment around Tariq. And I don't like Tariq, you know, but you have to see things from people's perspective.
You see, with that point, that's the exact viewpoint that I was coming from when I was watching the series. Because I think I caught on a bit later than everyone else, and then caught up like just before the last season had happened. And at that point, everyone was looking at Tariq. I guess it was mainly for like the Raina situation, isn't it?
He was still dead wrong for that, though.
No, he was for sure.
Dead
wrong. But I looked at it as a thing of...
Which bit, though? The bit of...
He got his sister killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that. But
he was wrong.
Yeah, but he didn't initiate that. He
He didn't want it, but
His actions
Yeah, 100%.
led to that.
actions.
It led
and
to that.
he ran away from the situation. Like he saw her get shot.
Actually, did he not run to? Well,
He
after
ran to a
Yeah.
bush, saw what happened, and then ran back towards her afterwards.
No. He was at the corner of the bush hiding.
But he saw it.
Yeah, that was
And
the
then-
whole thing.
So it's not like he ran and then came back. He saw it.
For me, there's
well.
several things. Number one, he's a youth. Like he's not around, and the way he's grown up here, he's not grown up in the hood. Like he's grown up in like wealth. His father.
But
had,
he's trying to get involved into the streets.
I don't know what he
During
was at
that
point.
time, Tariq was in.
Oh yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah,
doing
yeah,
home
yeah,
robberies.
He was doing stupid stuff.
He
was doing. Oh yeah. He was because it was the.
He was messing with the undie as well.
Yeah.
Bruv, the actual undie killed his sister.
Yeah.
They went to do the home invasion thing. It went mad, and then that the feds went to go clear up loose ends. Tariq is a loose end. Raina was brave and went leave like my brother alone. He said, "What is this guy talking about?" And then popped her.
My whole thing was essentially like the lack of nurturing kind of led, not like he's not his own person and he can't make decisions for himself, but he was at a young age. So first of all, seeing that, I don't think he would have reacted in any sort of rational way. He would have just been like, "My sister has just been shot." Do you know what I mean? I don't know what anyone would have done at that moment. But
I'm
it's
not
a
saying
bit
he's wrong for that reaction. I'm saying it's the steps leading up to that.
Yeah,
so
no,
he
definitely
has
wrong.
to take partial responsibility.
Yeah.
But it's Ghost's fault for leaving the household and doing the whole whiling in terms of my gal, messed up the thing.
And that's what I saw at first. I think a lot of people didn't, or maybe just wasn't like factoring in that when they were like examining Tariq's character. Because I saw that and I thought, he's wrong for that. But I'm looking at Ghost as like the sort of person that should have been
There for him.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
And
that-
also he disrespected his mother as well. People often
my
slide past
God.
that part of it. He did disrespect her openly.
so many times that bro,
It was vice versa, but he initiated the disrespect.
it was just
Is that
yeah.
Tasha?
No,
Yeah.
Ghost.
No, goes to Tasha. Like,
But
he,
people make the argument that she technically cheated first. But
Who did she cheat with?
Sean.
Sean, Kanan's son.
Oh yeah, technically she did.
Technically, but this is this whole thing about emotionally cheating. He was gone emotionally from the moment he
100%.
saw her in the club.
So Angela in the club.
She was dead anyway, man.
Wow.
She was buzzed.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, no, that was actually a good example of someone who he's present but not present at the same time. Like he's there providing all the material things, making sure that he's getting to school and that, which is what like you're putting in that kind of work, but it
shouldn't be first. It should come as a support. It should come as a groundwork. It should come as a foundation. You shouldn't have the material stuff leading the rest of it. You should have your cultivation and nurturing side as a father. Because people often think the word nurturing is just for mothers. It's not just for mothers. Men have to nurture their children in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? You have to nurture your good character traits and your bad, and to teach them about your bad character traits so they don't like recall your mistakes.
And teach them where exactly their mistakes, where they went wrong.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's what I think. Ghost was so focused on this latter part of it, he didn't spend time finding out who Tariq was. He was trying to shape Tariq into not being Ghost. I just don't. And it got to the point where it circled back. He just became Ghost. Do you know what I mean?
I definitely think, because I don't think it was ever like fully explored Ghost's like upbringing.
It was a little bit.
A little bit, but not to the point where you could at least. Because I imagine like how he was brought up and what he was raised on, the values and everything that, you know, his sort of value system.
Yeah, they didn't really touch on that.
He had a
Not
father,
too much.
No,
He had a father,
it was. If you watch the first season, his father's shop is mentioned. Gabe, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Who's
At
Gabe.
the
Gabe?
library.
No, it wasn't at the library. It was at the sports bar. It was not the sports bar.
No,
Like the bar that
oh,
was
the
shut
bar.
down.
Yeah.
Spoke to his uncle Gabe. Do you remember?
Wait. Because none of you're not watching Book 2, are you?
I've seen spoilers.
Because I think he came at one point.
Yeah, to come say, Ghost try to do this decision.
Yeah.
Post
Oh,
death.
okay, yeah.
And
So I think it was him.
It's his Uncle Gabe, innit? Like, you come told me.
I need to watch it.
And people who are watching this, you can come correct us if we got facts wrong. We're not massive Power fans. We just used it as an example of. But Ghost had his father in his life until his father was shot. But Ghost's father had a drinking problem. Ghost
Yes, I
Ghost
remember that.
Ghost has a drinking problem. Tariq will probably have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's behavior passed down because it's not been attacked at the source.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that would have been not an excuse, but like an explanation as to why, you know, Ghost had maybe sort of feared that past and said, this is how I'm gonna, like, he was driven by fear of, I don't want you to become this person because I've seen it myself growing up and I don't want that for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the way he sort of tried to raise Tariq. Yeah, because fatherhood, something you mentioned just before, like the ultimate sort of, I don't know the word you use, but
the final stage of manhood.
Final stage of manhood is fatherhood. I feel like for some people, or not necessarily like you can't reach that stage or you shouldn't, but it's not in their character or how they've been raised and how they've grown up. It's not for them. Some people, I feel like
there's not a problem with that,
because being a parent first and foremost is a thing within itself. Like I remember growing up thinking, like that was just the goal for me. It wasn't like an after. It was just an afterthought. Like, oh, I'm just gonna grow old and like get married, have kids, or whatever. Like it wasn't like a fully thought out plan. It was just that's what was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
You get older, you start seeing people around you get into situations like that, and you're like, oh, like
it requires a lot more work.
It's a whole lot more work.
I think as fathers, the same way in terms of mothers, you need to be very particular about who you choose the mother of your children to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's just been ringing in my head. I saw it was a thing on Link Up TV. Yeah, hold tight, Marks. By the way, big up Marks, because I think he's an amazing presenter. Big up Marks. He had a conversation sitting down in terms of his mum, because his elder sibling, Corey, so older Marks, died 20 years ago, last year, it was last year. And so he sat down in terms of his mum to just discuss it all. Her book is called From Grief to Grace. So they basically just...
Have you read it yet?
No, I haven't read the book yet. So
Have you bought it yet?
I plan to, yeah.
It's in my
Is it?
my Amazon as well, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, wicked. I should buy it. You know, like when you watch something, you mean to it and you
Nah, I
forget.
just put that in my wish list.
Yeah. So cool. I watched the episode and the way Margs' mum took full accountability, said, yeah, as much as I can be a great mum, I can't be a dad. And in this new generation where black men especially are being considered and regarded as obsolete, not needed, do you know what I mean? It's important to hear words or in that vein, in that manner, because it reminds us that we are necessary. Do you know what I mean? Mm. It's important for children to have both parents. Mm-hmm. And I think that's often mistaken in this society because everyone is trying to rejig everything. And it's fine. If that's how you choose to live your life, I haven't got to agree or disagree with it. I don't necessarily care. It's just a thing of, for order and society, the way it's run previously, and not even just how it's run previously, just seeing anecdotes and seeing how kids have thrived with both parents. It's like you want to set up your own child for the best possible. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sorry, not saying you can't thrive without one parent, but you're just saying it's a lot hard. Many have, but I'm saying there's still psychological stuff that they have to deal with. Same way with both parents. That's why I'm saying it's not just about having two parents, it's about who have you chosen as your partner? Have they unpacked their trauma? Have they looked?
What's the setup like?
Do you know what I mean?
Because you can have two parents, but it doesn't mean the house is good.
Yeah, and
it doesn't mean everyone's getting along. I'm saying some houses are better having one parent.
Apart. So some parents, and that's why in the new generation, it's a lot better now in terms of co-parenting. that co-parenting thing is amazing because when the two parents can be mature and get on, you can raise proud, productive children.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But yeah, that's essentially the way I'm looking at it. It's like it's important to have that masculine and the feminine balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for.
Growing up, like, did you ever, like, going to school, like, people you saw, like, did you interact with people that you knew, like, what their home was like, and if they had any issues, or if there was anything that you saw that was interesting about their family dynamic that might have been different from yours?
At what age?
Let's say, like, secondary school time. So, like,
Hell yeah. That time. Obviously, primary school's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have.
Yeah, you're not really.
No.
We just don't have the depth to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we might see things and forget them, or just not be able to process what the magnitude of things are. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of in secondary school, hell yeah, there were a lot of dynamics that were different to mine, and it made me appreciate mine a lot more.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few of my friends from school that had single parent setups. Not all of them. I also had a lot. I had two parent setups, or I have two parents in my life, but they're not together.
Mm.
So I got,
were you seeing both the positive and the negative aspects of it?
To an extent, but it just made me appreciate my home a lot more, especially getting older and older and older. I'm like, I've been set up in a way to win almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just now I've got to deal. Don't get twisted. My parents are not and were not perfect, and there's been conversations I've had with them of they've hidden a lot of stuff from me, and now finding it out getting older I didn't like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 100.
Do you know what I mean? And they were like, go on.
Sorry to cut you. That you gotta remember that your parents are also kids in their own right.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you're 100% right.
How are they like? There is no specific blueprint to say, yo, this is how you should raise a child. This is how you should raise a black man. This is how you should raise a black woman. Do you know what I'm saying? This is how you should raise twins. Or this is how you should raise all your kids. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
yes, you understand
go on.
from their parents. Do you know what I'm saying? Their community. It takes a community to raise a child. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they understand that, but at the end of the day, there isn't like there's no thing on .gov that you can print out and say, yo, this is what you.
But even then, that's the wrong people to take advice.
Yeah, but you
from.
know, I just mean, you know what I mean.
I'm not even.
I just mean as an example.
There's no document. I get what you mean. Yeah, 100%.
As a parent, this is what you need to do. Yeah, there's traditional things like you get you look after the child, cool. You get the child registered, you get the passport, child welfare, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Look after child maintenance, take them to school, otherwise you get fined. There's all of that. Yeah, that's obviously based on environment as well. Because Africa, we raise your kids differently in certain places. Africa, the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? Europe as well. There's a lot of European countries that they don't go to school till a lot later, so they're homeschooled or they're staying with the family a lot more. But here,
which is actually tends to be better sometimes.
do you
because I don't know. I think there's a lot of people which down homeschooling.
Homeschooling.
But I think if you can get the right center of education, for example, if you get an African-centered education for young black kids growing up, it will boost their self-esteem by 1,000. 100%. So they can go.
They do still need that social aspect.
It's a social aspect, but I think that can be learned. Do you know what I mean? I think you can have your kids go out into play centers and all these other things. I'm not saying to shield them from the universe, but education to learn it in a way that boosts you up. For example, just imagine if we learnt the things a lot of us know now in school. We'd be 10, 15, 20, 30, 45, 50 steps ahead. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I do think also another thing that I was going to say from what you were saying as well, like the same way there's no blueprint for like how to raise your children, not all children are the same as well. Even if you had an idea of how you wanted to raise your child, like say, this happens a lot as well, like me, I'm the firstborn, so like with my parents, I know they weren't really sure what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And then with my sister, it was kind of like, right, our first son.
100,
You know, we've seen what we've done with him now. Let's try something else with the younger sibling. You know what I'm saying? But even with that won't work out perfect. Do you know what I mean?
And
Because at the end of the day, you look at them as they get older, you see them going into different spaces, and all you can do is just hope. Because you don't know exactly what's going to happen with them. They're both just there to, you've done what you can at the end of the day. You just got to put them out and see what happens.
It's a very difficult job, man. And I don't fault parents unless it's something cataclysmic, unless it's something destructive. Do you know what I mean? If it's just a mistake, mistakes can be made, and I don't hold, for example, I don't hold my parents to mistakes they've made. It's just I'm trying to understand why they did something. That's just how my brain works, you know.
I was gonna say on the school thing that I brought up, I don't know about you guys and what you might have seen, but I thought about it recently. There was a time when, like, let's say like a parents' evening was happening or something was happening where like the parents had to be in the school, and at the time, although I noticed it, I didn't internalize it. A couple of like the other like black children in the school, I would see their mum mainly. I don't think I saw too many of the fathers there.
Yeah, I think my dad came to my school once.
How often did my dad come? I think he came quite regularly, but it would be more so my mum.
Yeah,
there were times that she came by herself 100%.
Yeah,
but I feel like my dad was present.
Okay.
Not always. He wasn't there for every parent's evening, trust me. But he was there enough where...
I agree with you though. But I also agree with you in terms of...
I mean, look, did you see it?
Also used to see people's dads and not their
I used to see a lot of people's dads.
And not their mums.
Black people. I used to see a lot of black kids.
Black kids.
100%, yeah.
Oh, okay, I couldn't.
That's interesting. I mean, just from memory, like I'm thinking of the people that I remember there, and like maybe I didn't
specifically talking about black kids.
Yeah, black kids. Okay. I don't, because I didn't know everyone's situation like that, so I didn't know if it was like they didn't have them in the picture or like they just wasn't there that day or something like that. I don't know. In
our community, us sort of workers, innit? So we could be working at that time, and you can't say no to your job. Doesn't matter what.
Get picked up by mum.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like,
even though my mum was still working, she would take her break
to come pick you up. 100%, yeah.
Okay. I mean, like just as an observation, like I didn't think too much of it, and even now, just like thinking back to it, it wasn't like what can I take from that? Like what specifically? Because again, I didn't know everyone's situation like that. Their dad
it's
might have
commonplace
been, like,
in certain.
I work something like that. But seeing and even just generalizing it to just all the children in school, like I think I did see more mothers than fathers.
You went to a black school?
No. I just did like a mixed school. But I was saying, like, if I just generalize it now to like all the kids in the school, I think I saw more.
I was gonna say that, as in, I saw a lot of both. I'd say if I had to put a gauge and a number on it, I probably saw more mothers, to be honest. And that's across white, Asian. Probably saw more mothers.
But you also see that in the education system anyway.
There's more women, isn't it? 100%.
When I used to work in education, I was the only male on my team.
Teachers are usually.
There was 20 women. There was literally two, I think.
Women, yeah. I don't know, you know, because I feel like in places of seniority and power, did their work, they were men. But then again, I'm saying that as I got older, as I got to sixth form, right, my head of sixth form, like I was a woman at a certain point in time. So I don't know.
Principal of the company I was working with a few years ago, she was principal. She was a woman.
And I think it's very misleading to go off individuals because we're talking about systems here, isn't it? So I think we've got to analyze the system. Like, we do know that the Western education system is racist, sexist. It's both. You know them ones where I can reel off both of it. It's both, innit? Like, it's inherently sexist. So.
Yeah, that's not education system. That's just the system.
Yeah, it's definitely the system. I'm saying it shows itself quite vividly in the education system. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
even the fact that you see a lot of women, they might be making less than their male counterparts.
But they're in an equal job, they're in the
Or even in a higher job, you never know. Obviously, we've all left school a long time ago, so could be different now. There could be a lot more women.
That's true.
You get me?
That is true. I don't know. I just feel like, in terms of like seeing the parents at like a parents' meeting or something like that, their sort of view of how their children's education is going, from a sort of mother's perspective, you know, being a bit more, I guess, like protective of their child rather than their teacher's view of their child. Like I think I've heard like a couple, like not like fully, but like a couple meetings with like the parent and teacher where the teacher maybe like giving them some criticism, like, you know, your child is this, but they could be doing this, and they're looking at the child and they're, you know, like listening to what the teacher's saying, but then they're also a bit like, well, how are you like teaching the class? Like, what is it that you're doing? Like,
is that what the mother would say in response?
But
a little bit.
that
like,
is a valid question, though.
No,
it's
is
valid.
valid.
It is
Very
valid.
much
It's
a
very
valid question.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna tell me you're basically telling my mother that she's not raising my man? That's what
No,
you're
100%.
And I think it's important for it's context, isn't it? Because yes, there's bad children, but equally there's a lot of teachers that are thrown into the
very
deep
much,
end
that
aren't meant to be teaching that.
They're not even qualified.
I'm not even about they're bad. It's just you're in the wrong group. You're teaching the wrong youths.
Mm-hmm.
Like your level might be year 7. You've got the rowdy year 10s and 11s. You know you can't control that class, bro. Do you know what I mean? And that's not.
I always used to think that calling, sorry to go off, but that calling in a mum or calling in a dad to school.
It was a fear tactic, and I didn't like it. I still don't like it to this day.
I heard that actually, yeah.
It's actually a fear tactic.
Really think about it. As a system, yeah, you're supposed to be able to
Handle things internally.
But you can't. You have to go outsource. You have to go call.
And more time, the stuff that the parents got called for wasn't actually that deep. If we're being honest, yeah. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Nah, that don't make sense.
Silly.
Yeah, that's silly. But that's a different dynamic. Obviously, my dynamic is a boys' school, so it'd have been fights and
Oh, this is 6 1.
even that never happened to me in 6th form, you know.
No, fights and that. No, man never got calls.
I
As
kind
in
of
what? As in there'd be fights every day, and then the
no,
parents
not
would get
fights.
called.
No
No,
one had
okay.
fights every day in school,
Yeah, it
bro.
wasn't every day, bro.
As
If
in,
you had a fight,
I'm gonna be real.
Was it every-
I'm gonna
not
be
every day,
real.
man.
In terms of like the bad schools where you hear about man, you know, like every day wasn't like that.
yeah, it's not.
Like, don't get twisted. It was instant every day, but their year group and them weren't in a mad thing every day.
Because that's mad. Because you actually got to learn.
It's like bruv,
Yeah.
it's like a gangster's life. Gangster's life isn't 24/7 shoot up, you know. Like they do normal things like go shop for their mum, that they go and see their cousins and their aunties. But there's a section of their life that is different to ours. That is a mad thing. And is that the stuff they might write about or post about, it depending on who they are and what they do. But that's not their 24/7 life, you know. The same way that in school, those bad schools that you heard about where man are like, boy, you know, my man, like that's the highlight of a man's week, you know.
What's that?
I'm talking about
When
in
a
the bad
madness
school.
happens.
Like some schools were like that where every year group had a madness every day. But in your year group, that's rare. Unless you went to one of them schools where it's on tops.
One time madnesses happened after school though.
That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about in school though, because after school is a
not
different
in
thing.
school, because people still know authority.
People are sugar teachers them time. I don't care what men are telling you. Yeah. Like there's very few men that are really like, nah, fuck
But
teachers.
looking back at it now, you'll be thinking.
Teachers are pricks.
Hold on.
Teachers are actually pricks. Like, and I don't mean. In fact, I'll say this like this.
I know one.
Half
I
the
know
teachers are
one.
probably smoking.
Man said
I know
bush.
one.
Nah,
I
man.
know one.
Snorting crack. Are
Yeah,
you
all
crazy?
of that, bro.
They're on the man. You see, teachers, I do
Oh
respect
my
them
God.
still.
Yeah, 100%.
But I also don't respect them for the sake of you shout at little kids and mean it. For example, there was this teacher, who was like a PE teacher. He was talking to us normally and he's like, boys, watch this. And then he's like, oi, boys! To a bunch of year 7s, they were shook and started patting out. Then he went back into normal conversation. He fake shouted, bro.
What?
He fake shouted And that's why I'm like, oh, I rate your thing. Because you're not actually shouting. You're actually just turning it on. You're not actually angry. That means that
Yeah,
those...
but sometimes you got but sometimes that's a mechanism that teachers have.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the fact that there's certain teachers, I knew when teachers got angry. There was teachers in my school that tried to swing on a student. He was that mad. Or he was preparing to swing on a student.
A student swung on a teacher.
But that's different though.
Was the student like
Man to man.
Huh?
No, I said, was the student like moving like mad?
No, but it's
I've
just a
seen the
wind-up
situation-
merchant thing. Like,
I've seen a situation, where the student actually spat at the
no,
teacher.
that's different. No, that's
And
different.
the teacher, he didn't even punch him. What
That's
he did,
different.
he kind of just like put him to the floor.
That's different though.
Because
Because that's justified though. That doesn't disrespect. For example, I've told this story enough times off camera. I feel like I've told it on camera as well. If I haven't, I told a grown man to suck his mum before. I nearly died for
I've
that.
never heard that story. What the hell? That's not even funny. What happened? What the hell? Huh?
I was going through bad things in my life.
What, in school?
No, it's
Oh,
out of road, so I could have actually died.
Okay.
So I was going through things at that time, and I was just angry. You know them ones that you're just angry over nonsense.
So how old were you at the time?
It's like 17, 18. So I didn't know better, but I should have known better.
Right.
So cool. I'm out, and this bouncer has come and told us, man, like 3 or 4 of us, you lot can't get in because a group of black boys was fighting a group of white boys. So we're not letting nobody in. And I'm like, okay, that makes no sense. That's what we thought. Then there's this group of white guys and white girls who get let in. It's a black bouncer, you know. We're like, big man, what are you doing? We're arguing with him. He's just airing us. And I said, hey boy, and I said it. Full yardy tongue. I lost my mind, bro. Obviously, I've walked off. The guy is now chasing me, bro. The guy's chasing me. Obviously, I'm a pussy, them times, so I ran. I ran. Because when I mean grown man, he was at least 35. He's a big man. I told him, big man. So you don't do them things, blood. You don't do them things. So what I'm... Like what am I supposed to do? Oh, man rocked it out of it. I didn't. I'm not a liar.
I'm sorry.
So what I'm saying is, so I'm saying that teachers, are also human beings. So if someone spat at them, I can understand the reaction. It's not right. Like, you get me? Talking about...
But it's peak though.
But like, as a friend of mine, it's just being him. Like, he angers people because he's so good at being...
Like a troll.
Huh?
A troll. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
And back then, he's calm now. Back then, he was a super troll.
Troll before trolling was
like, so bad. Like, it got under man's skin,
I feel like trolls back
bro.
in the day was so...
like, because I used to do it, but I was never... He was good at it. Like, he used to get himself out of trouble. So the teacher just lost his mind. There's so many... He didn't swing at him, but he's like... You know when man's open up their body? Open up body.
It's more peak for the teacher.
Of course. It's the same...
If you get flamed at and you react...
No.
That teacher got suspended. Yeah, he got suspended.
But you can...
And the thing is, he didn't swing at the student. All he did was restrain the student.
Yeah.
And he touched the student.
Phlegmed on is so disgusting, man.
Yeah. And you even have that as a risk as well when you're dealing with kids that are against each other. Because, you're trying to protect the kid that's being
attacked or whatever, but you're trying to protect yourself.
You're also trying to protect yourself.
Because
at the end of the day, my still needs to feed my... Like, just because these lawless youths are doing nonsense, now I can't feed my kids.
But that's what I'm saying.
I can't pay my mortgage or I can't pay my rent next month because I've been suspended.
It's mad. Like,
I want to circle it back then to
fatherhood. And this is why it's important. Man need dads, bro.
Yeah, because when I'm now hearing all of this, and I'm thinking of a mum at the parents' evening or whatever it is, I'm trying to picture now the dad or fathers and what their sort of presence is and what they're supposed to be doing at these meetings. Because I wouldn't say it as if like both of them are supposed to have like different roles, but
they are supposed to have different roles.
No, as in that.
But they are. It's
meeting.
A masculine and a feminine principle. So if you come there with both your parents, like your mum is meant to be understanding, asking like perceptive questions of the classroom and the build up, and
ideally,
this is ideally, of course. And then, like your dad, being an elder man that's been through the situation, can come guide the youth and tell them, you should like try to go through this way. Like, You know what I mean? Navigate it.
Are we talking for both the the son and the daughter? Because
again, the different roles, but you still both
yeah.
have a role. For example, if it's a mum now, she's been a younger woman, she's been a young girl, and then a dad can now guide her on like how to deal with men or how to respond to male teachers. Like, do you know what I mean? And like pick up on anything that is mad.
Is this something that you've seen yourself, or like ideally how
This
you
is
think
this is
it
all
should just
idealism.
Okay.
You know what I mean? This is idealism. I can't talk of, and I can't. In my household, it worked a pretty good balance, because in my house I got a good dynamic.
Right.
I have a listener and I have a person that's a bit more talkative. So there's balance. You know what I mean?
Would you, if we can get into it, if you want to, like, would you say both of your parents played the ideal roles that you mentioned just now?
Not necessarily, but it still worked because they balanced each other. So they balanced each other out. So it was still a pattern, and they obviously, do you know what I mean? They still managed to go through situations, and there was never any dramas with teachers. There was never any shouting matches. Of course, there was strong discussions because obviously they know their child and they're trying to figure out what's this teacher really on. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of, yeah.
Okay. No, that's well, yeah. I guess because you can only hope, like, ideally you would have the situation where, like, number one, both parents are there, and number two, they can fulfill those roles. Like, and
it hasn't got to be the actual biological parent. It's just a male or female model figure. That's a positive model figure. That's important. It doesn't have to be the biological parent. And this is why I get a little bit upset, yeah, when I see people often disregard or diss stepdads. Because that's why part of our community is mash up, because we disrespect stepdads and make it seem like an idiot thing. Like, if you, man's not gonna raise no man's you. Like, that's all ego talking, bro. That's ego. All of that is ego.
You know what I'm thinking of? Fucking hammer. Top Boy. So the first season they came back, and we see Sully's character arc. Yeah. Where he's coming, he sees his daughter. She's going to school. The mother's there with the new guy. Yeah.
But that's a different situation, because there's a lack of communication of there being a new guy.
Of course.
And of course it's none of his business because they've broken up. But it's like his ego as a man is adjusting to the fact that there's this new man interacting with my daughter. Is he cool? Because it's not just sort of an ego of like, it's my daughter. It's a thing of, is my daughter safe around this man?
Yeah.
That's why I understand why a lot of men have that don't bring no man around my daughter thing. Because it's like, is this man even safe to be around? Like, is he doing mad things around my daughter? Yeah. But then, I think there's kind of this perception of stepfathers or men who step up being corny, which I don't like.
I think that's the sort of perception that the show was not maybe intentionally given, but like I was getting that sort of angle, because obviously we're following Sully's character.
But that's an idiot thing. As much as I love his character, I love Sully's character. It's like you shouldn't have portrayed it that way. You should have obviously have him have the realistic reaction to, I don't know about this man. I'm uncomfortable with him around my daughter. Like, I don't know my man. Do you get me? But don't portray this man stepping up and doing a responsibility as like he's the idiot.
I think what it might have been was like certain bullet points superseded that one. You know what I mean? Because on top of it, it was like they actually had like a shootout. He had to come back to the house to sort of like recuperate and, you know, like, like when they had the first shootout.
He weren't doing himself in the favor.
It wasn't,
I understand
there was consequences that just resulted in him having to come back to the house.
I'm talking about genuinely though. I'm talking about the actual. We have this model of like men who look after their kids, are not in drama, who have jobs, are corny. Whereas bad man, street man that disrespect gyal are not considered corny. They're considered bad men. I don't like that narrative. I don't like it's being pushed in the community. And we are the community that do that. Because of mental enslavement, because of programming. We've been programmed to think the bad man is cool. Do you know what I mean? Or just someone who is a horrible human being. Like, do you know how many man who is my man again? He plays American football. Tiara's partner.
Oh yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know his name.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is someone who we consider corny. Not we as in us in this room, but the black community.
I don't think they do now,
No, but they still do.
but they did.
There's still a
At the
sect.
start.
But that's because what? He stepped up and helped be a positive male role model, like in a black child's life. What? How's that a bad thing?
I 100% remember that kind of reaction to it, yeah.
That was the exact reaction to it.
Yeah.
And Future fueled that, bro. And that was mainly his male ego of don't bring a next man round my son.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can understand, and he's right in one sense, but in the other sense, like if the man is a positive influence, he's not doing anything mad to the child, he's not disciplining, like, let the man be a positive influence, bro. Especially if you aren't around as much. If you aren't, then it's different. You gotta work that out. Do you know what I mean?
And we don't know that.
We don't know that, but
their team.
like I didn't see a negative influence to Future's child. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just see a lot of that strain of thought of like, oh, I'm not gonna look after no one else's child. But then we complain about the state of the community. It's cognitive dissonance, brother. It lacks critical thinking to where in one breath we say, we need to do better as a community. We gotta help the youths. And then in the next breath we're saying, I can't look after no man's youth. I ain't gonna look after next man's picky. Who do you think I am? Am I a prick? That's ego. All of that is ego. It's not even for a viable reason you're saying that. I could respect it a little bit more if it was financially. Saying, I'm not financially able to take care of 2 kids. Or someone else's kid. It's the ego of, this is someone else's kid. Why do I have to look after somebody when you're not thinking community? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What do you think of... So I feel like there's always been that sort of call for, black men to step up, take care of your child.
That's an unfair critique.
Unfair critique.
It lacks context.
Yeah, no, 100%. But
it lacks so much context, and I think people throw that out. Yeah. So it's actually it's nasty. Yo.
Yeah, no. But where they are, let's say, involved with a certain lifestyle, where they might end up like being put away for something, and they do come and they're like, look, let me try to be around the child, but there's still an element of them that's involved in that life.
It's not just about being in a life. Let's say if you change from the life, there's certain legal requirements that say, you're not allowed back to this area. You can't get a job. People forget this stuff. That the system is set up for ex-convicts or convicts or criminals to not be afforded the same opportunities as everyone else.
Right.
In this system, it's not about rehabilitation. It's about demonizing criminality. So if you go to like Norway and that and Sweden, they got rehabilitation centers. They get the criminals them and they work with them and they try to ingrain them back into society properly. Whereas here we just demonize criminals. And I'm for demonizing certain crime. Pedophile for blood clot dead. So say that on this camera. I feel no ways about it. You get me? Rapists for the same way. Actual convicted rapists with evidence of rape is. Do you get me? Because I think that also gets confused as well. But, fam, I think it's unfair how this narrative has been spewed of black men don't want to take care of their kids. And this is what, again, brought me back to the thing with Margs' mum. Margs' mum said, this is what I love her accountability. She said, I didn't necessarily converse with Corey's dad, Margs, or your dad, which was talking to Margs, your dad, and China's dad, about them being fathers. They was just trying to have a good time. But I really wanted kids. So how many of those conversations are being had where man don't want to be fathers? And I'm not bailing out, man, because people
not even don't want to be fathers.
Are not ready.
Yeah.
At that time.
And have not been given the choice.
Yes.
Do you understand? To be a father.
And I'm saying it's about choice, and that's what she said. And she was like, if I could go back, I would make better choices in men for you guys as fathers, because that would have set you up better than what it did. Do you know what I mean? Because at the time, you lot's fathers, first, we didn't have great relationships. And that's important, because your child will pick up on the relationship between mother and father. Like whether it's a girl child or it's a boy child.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
No, 100%. Like, being in a room and them not thinking that you're taking anything in, but you're actually just, like, you're just growing up and seeing the same things over and over again. And then as you get older, you start to learn more of the things and you start to realize some of those things you saw didn't add up. Or some of the things the relationship between them two was never, and you might have had that small feeling as a child, but obviously you couldn't like vocalize it, you couldn't internalize what it was. But you saw it and you just acknowledged that it was there and something didn't feel right. You know what I mean? You grow up and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's important, because I think the conversation around absentee fatherhood lacks so much socio-political, socio-historical context.
Okay.
Black men have been targeted to be removed from the home. African men, but I mean African, I mean black, right? African men have been targeted to be removed from the home via the crime bill with you guys' boy Biden in this country. They're increasing the amount of prisoners per year because they can see there's a prison economy. Do you know what I mean? You can give people jobs that way. This country will start to go in that direction. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can get men who are white middle class or even black middle class to work in prisons and give man more jobs by building more prisons to get more prisoners in there. You know what I mean? And the people who it will directly affect are primarily the poor blacks, then like the poor whites as well in this country. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, the conversation lacks context of like, a lot of men didn't want to leave their situations. But some of them were put in the situation, especially men have different willpower of like, I can't deal with this relationship. Now I have to separate from my child. A lot of men have done that. But there's also societal factors. I mean, financially, I couldn't stay. This, I couldn't stay. I wasn't ready to be a dad. I've been locked up before. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why it's important of like, even if relationships fail, it's important for the mother to not tarnish the name of the dad. Because if and when, that's a massive effect.
Yeah. No,
massive
okay.
effect.
In saying that then, let's say...
Or if you do, make sure that there's a male role model figure who can come and pick up that work.
No, okay. Let's say a situation where it's not necessarily the mother tarnishing the father's image in front of the child. It's like, let's say the family or whoever's family, like outside of that
dynamic,
unit, outside of that dynamic. But it's the father that's not able to come back through however, whatever means. He's in the child's life now. But
it's his responsibility to try work, but he's already stacked against the odds.
He's stacked against the odds.
It's hard.
But there's people that were going to argue that the decisions that he's made in his life, not all of them, but the main ones that have led him to live a certain lifestyle, that's embedded within him. That's maybe in his character. That's how he's going to carry himself around the child. Not like necessarily argument or anything. My sort of observation is being present for your child's life is sort of a
paramount
thing. Because, not paramount, but it's a two-handed thing where you can be present for the child. You can be there making sure. It's essentially what we said beforehand as well. Like, you can be buying them things. You can be making sure that they're, well-equipped to deal with, different aspects of like school and then growing up like later in life, innit? But in a material sense. But then there's also the values that you carry, what you're passing down to them.
That's the most important thing.
That's the important thing. And
I place that above the material.
Yeah, but then there's people that are going to argue that people coming from that sort of lifestyle, are they going to pass on values that are not necessarily like good?
But it's about learning. Like, if we don't know any better, sorry, our parents don't know any better, our grandparents don't know any better. But our parents and grandparents came here worshipping white Jesus, came here with a bag of things that is detrimental to our development. We don't love them any less. I don't love my grandma any less because she comes talk to me about white Jesus. I don't. I still love her the same. But it's like unlearning, untwisting the knots in our brain and reprogramming ourselves. We've been programmed, right? We have to reprogram ourselves. It's about learning. So if you give anyone the chance to want to learn better, most people are going to want to learn better. Some don't because they're happy in their ignorance, and that's fine. But when most man from the ends...
So where they're ignorant in their learning, and it's a child's life, it's a child's upbringing.
This is why positive male role model is needed. It doesn't have to be the biological father. This is my point.
Okay.
It can be an uncle, it could be a next door neighbor, it could be any... I've always stressed it don't have to be the biological father. If the biological father is whatless, yeah? Because certain men are whatless.
What?
Okay, certain men are
Whatless.
whatless.
Yeah.
You get an uncle, there's people act like there's a shortage of positive men. That's a lie. You just don't want to know them. It's a fact. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's man from the ends. There's actually man from the ends. There is actually man from the ends who go Central London every day, get their bank in, come back, feed mummy, go look after mummy in the end. They do that, don't they? You know these man. Like, they come do that. So you can get them to mentor if it's a son or it's a daughter. I think it don't have to be a male child. It can be a child. 2 parents, brother. It doesn't have to be biological. Yes, it's preferable to have the biological because there's something different about the biological love. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know your thing of your biological parents and how they feel in it.
Your offspring.
You know what I mean? Like, that connection. Yeah, it's different. But I'm
What, sorry?
that piece of
Oh,
you.
sorry, I thought you said something.
But in nurturing a child, that's the whole phrase, it takes a village, comes from our ancestors, African people, raising children together. The whole village would actually do it.
Community, yeah.
It's the village, it's not just... No, I'm saying, I'm marking you right, but what I'm saying is that back in
Sorry.
no, you're correct, bro. What I'm saying is that you wouldn't even dare think of doing something bad. You know why? Because you know, auntie this and auntie and uncle this would discipline. You wouldn't even question about because you're like, and it's not even that. I would disrespect my family name doing that.
100%.
I disrespect my family name. Now we have the elders scared of the youth them. I'm a little bit scared of those 15 and 16-year-olds. They're mad. You can't tell them youth them nothing.
Yeah.
But we have to come out of that and say, nah, that behavior's not on. You got to tell them. You got to be brave. Because otherwise, they can't respect you if you're not brave and not tell man, yo, this ain't on, brother. And you got to find a way to reason with them. You got to find those common points of interest of where you can break them down and get access to them. Because otherwise, you're going to have... This is where people can make, again, another misguided statement of, young black men are terrorists of the black community. No, they're not. They're misguided, scared little kids. That's what they are.
For you to be saying statements like that doesn't help.
And it just means you just lack context of what governments do.
Because you
And what...
don't understand the black man.
This is people in the community saying this that are just shook, who are not trying to give the actual government.
In the black community.
Yeah. They've said
Go on,
this.
go on.
So what my
Yeah,
point
no,
is that they're not trying to pin the blame on the government. Yes, we must take self-accountability. And yes, everyone has autonomy. And everyone has, what's the word I'm looking for? Everyone has reason and all these things. But like, choices come in context.
Yeah.
So me and you have a different set of choices than breaders on the block. We all have choices. Not everyone on the block is a bad man, are they? But they have far less choice than we have. For example, I know I had a lot of choices growing up. I had the choice to go swim, which I did. Bare things I had access to because my parents just dug it in and said, you know what, this month, we're not going to spoil ourselves. And that's what I think in this gen is kind of missing of, like, the parents are getting younger and younger, and they don't want to sacrifice for the youth them. They're just doing, do you know what I mean?
I think age plays a part, but I don't think it's hard because there's old parents that are still shit.
Yes, I'm not saying young parents are shit parents. That's not my point. I'm saying that because we're not sacrificing ourselves for the greater good of our youth them in some cases, our youth them are able to dictate to us. Like, they know, like, the internet better than us. Do you know what I mean? and other things. For example, they have to live their life on the internet. You see, us lot. No, they don't have to, but I'm saying it's the consensus. And as a child, it's so persuasive, so pervasive and persuasive of that they need to be on the internet. Like, we came to the internet at what, 14, 12? Of when we first got introduced to it, really.
I ain't gonna lie, I got introduced to it.
No, but
we was in that.
But I was talking about anything mad like porn or anything. I'm talking about generally. I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about. No, but I'm not talking about. I'm talking about social media.
Yeah.
They live.
Okay.
They live on social media from about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wait, MSN. That's what I'm thinking. That was.
But that's not real social media. TikTok is international. On MSN.
No, but
MSN was international.
Not in the same way that TikTok is.
But
yeah, people.
What?
But
at what age?
Random people like.
As a youth.
Yeah.
What's a youth?
I would say
like 7, 8.
You weren't 7, 8.
No, not 7, 8. I was saying.
Wait,
what,
7,
12?
8, what year?
11, 12 you were, right?
Way before. Yeah, no later than year 9.
That's old, bro. These
no
kids.
Later, no later than
that's
year 9.
old.
What I'm saying, I probably started at year
7.
No, I started internet earlier than that. I was probably year 4 or 5.
You was year 4 on the internet.
Yeah, but I was saying that because the old man that's what he knew. So that's what he was teaching, man.
Okay, well then.
Oh, don't get twisted. It was still controlled. Internet was going off at 9 p.m.
But even that is the difference. My parents controlled the phone for me, so I'm not addicted to the phone, bruv. If you,
don't get to. Yeah, I had so much.
Bruv.
Just because I had a mobile phone doesn't mean
I could use it all the
same
time.
as yeah.
Fam, if my job doesn't have the jurisdiction of I need to know what's going on, you lot wouldn't be able to contact me. I promise. I hate my phone. I hate it.
My phone's been on Do Not Disturb.
That's why I'm on Do Not Disturb. I say as a joke, I don't want to be disturbed. I mean it. I genuinely mean it. As in, like, if I didn't have to be in the industry I'm in and I don't have to promote this podcast, I wouldn't be on social media, brother.
This guy's the most active man I've ever known.
I'm so dead.
How many followers you on now? Like 10 girls?
I'm not.
Wait.
I'm actually not. I'm not. I'm on
man,
like 3, but even then, that's nothing.
Talk to him, man. Hey,
going on to the experimentation front then.
you know what I mean? Hey, his name should be in bold and at the front. It shouldn't be EX. It should be LA. It should be LA.
That's fine. But what I'm saying, even I think it's important to now discuss on what do you want to transfer to your kids, good and bad.
Well, you wouldn't want to transfer anything bad.
No, but you're a human being.
That's the thing.
You're a human
being.
being.
Real. Because you can't live your life. Like, number one, I think they'll find out in the first place.
What I'm saying.
No. I get what you're saying. You don't want to pass them on bad.
You want to give, what things you want to tell your children to have them equipped to deal with the real world that we live in. Because this is what I'm trying to say. They're not dealing with the world we grew up in, bro. Yeah. These youths are on TikTok from 6, 7, doing all type of dance. Bruv, my little cousin or niece, is like 6, 7, 8, 9. Bruv, she's on TikTok from a long time doing all the routines. I'm like, what? Oh, go on, bruv. That doesn't make sense to me.
I think
the iPads and thing, like, I ain't gonna
lie, baby uses iPads.
I don't want my child like on iPads like that. I'll provide them.
Okay.
She uses educational stuff.
Let me pose the question now. This might have or could have been the first question we asked when we started this topic.
It should have been it.
What I was talking about before when I said my idea growing up was that we were just supposed to grow up and have kids. I've now formulated an idea in my mind. It can change when I grow up, when I get older or whatever, but I want kids. You know what I mean? And I have an idea of how many kids I want in my mind and how we're supposed to... Let's say about 4 or 5 maybe.
It's quite a lot of kids.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But
the thing is, back in the day, that was
normal.
It was normal, but it was just how I was thinking.
But you know what?
Exactly.
That's being in... That's being in... That's because we're here. Bruv, if we was back home...
Okay, so let me ask you lot. You now, you want kids, yeah? You both, you want kids?
Yeah.
And do you have an idea of either how you want to raise them, how many you want.
Therefore, how I want to raise them, and I'm still adjusting it in my mind as I acquire new info. Between 2 and 5. Between 2 and 5.
Minimum 2 for you, yeah.
Yeah, they have to have a sibling. You can't just have one kid.
I mean, you can. It's
No,
just.
I'm not saying you can't. I just saying personally,
And what is that? Or why? Oh, is it because you?
Like, I don't think I would. Yeah, sometimes you need siblings, bro. Like, there's certain things that.
But what about?
Like you lot are saying, the father can bring up the child, the mother can bring up the child, the siblings.
But even then, I was even talking about father with men. Like fathers, daughters need fathers, blood.
Yeah.
Mad. And I see memes about it, making jokes of like, oh, girls are hoes. No, I'm talking about genuinely.
What memes? What?
Like, there's people who make the memes of, oh, I can tell she not got dad. Stupid things like that.
Father issue.
Dumb things like that. Dad issue. I'm talking genuinely of like, that's her first interactions with men.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a positive one, it taints her image of men. And not even just that, of like the nurture of a man, like just holding your daughter, like, you know, them way there. Like, I just know my dad, the way he just held my sister, is like, you know what I'm saying? There's love and affection and all these things there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is different to like the mother. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's important for there to be two parents.
Next question: where would you raise?
Not here.
Homeland.
Yeah, not here.
Africa homeland, bro.
Africa.
I'm being generous. I'm thinking somewhere in West Africa. So maybe GH. I don't know about Niger. I'm not saying it in a rude way. I mean, genuinely, like, I got a thing.
I'm only laughing because you don't know what his face was saying behind the camera.
He made it sound like. There's like there's camera, there's bear.
No, what you?
This guy was giving evil.
Or even
I want to be around. See, I was saying it takes a village to raise a family. I gotta be around like the wider family, bro. Cause that's like every time we've gone back and I've seen them and I've spoken to them. Obviously, I can't even speak the language, so it's very minimal like conversation. But I can see that community aspects of, you know, they're just gonna be there as soon as we land in the airport. Bro, they're there. They're waiting for us, fam. It's like, and they're so excited to see us. Like,
and do you think you lack that as certain characteristics within yourself?
I think I only lack it because I was raised here away from like the main family unit. Do you know what I mean?
Do you feel like there's a bit more of a defense mechanism?
Not a little bit, but as I've grown older, I've seen that that's how I want to be. I want to be involved in that. I want to be around that.
That's mad because I still feel like I had that because I feel like a lot of that the Jamaican family came here. So we brought a lot of that here. Obviously, it's not the same because there's still anglicized a lot in it. It's still anglicized and Englishified. You know, them way there. Like,
what's wrong with you?
Why?
I must say why.
Yeah, fuck these, man.
No, honestly, bro, like,
no, but anyway, as I was saying, but it's very much like in Yard is in such a tortured, beautiful place. Like, the thing that these people did to Jamaica, bro, these European people did, and then the Chinese when they came, and the Indian man when they came, bro.
You know what?
Mash up Yard, like. But even then, Jamaica was cursed in itself. People often get angry at me saying stuff like this, yeah, but Jamaica is a cursed land. It's a land of genocide from its inception. How we get Jamaica is genocide, bro. Do you get me?
How do you say Jamaica? It's not Jamaica, is it? What's the actual...
Oh, the original name for it. There's something else. I don't know it. As soon as I find out, I'll tell you. But there's definitely an original name. Because there were people there before us saying. Cause
I think I would have my kids here.
Have them here.
Have them here, yeah. Calmly have them here. But when they reach that primary school age, take them back home. And then once they've done primary, they can come back here. Because I know they've...
So you actually plan to come back?
They've had that culture and everything and tradition instilled in them. Because those 5 years is key.
That is mad.
Year 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Basically, the whole of primary is key.
You're instilling that culture within them.
So I don't think I will be too stressed now for them to come back to the UK. Do you understand? Because I feel like they will have that. They will have those morals within them. They will have the culture within
Strong
them.
principle,
Do you
yeah.
understand?
But why are they coming back to though?
That's why I don't want to come back, because what are we coming back to?
I know, as in, not to say that you shouldn't,
Bruv,
but why?
Nah, just.
Bro, nah.
I'm not going to be here forever, but I'm just saying.
That's
what I would say at the moment if I was to have kids now.
I actually plan to pack up and pack up shop.
It's easier said than done.
That's what I'm saying. Plan. I'm saying it got to be financially capable to do that still.
Because even I say that, and it's like I built a life here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not by choice, but I have built a life here. There's things that I've done, and not necessarily communities that I've. Well, yeah, like our relationship, people that are planning to stay here as well. There's people, the connections that I still have here that, in 10.
We don't need you.
Okay.
No, joking.
10, 15. Wow. No, but in 10, 15 years' time, it's like it can still be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I would come back and visit because I have beer family here. As in, I can't not come back really.
Yeah.
I got so much family here that
England's not the worst place ever. You just have to use England as that tool to
build.
Back home.
Yeah, that's my plan.
You understand? Because your money will stretch at home.
Oh,
right now, we're surviving.
It's not even just about the stretching at home. It's about helping to build up at home. So it's now not stretching at home. It's now your cash is a powerhouse at home, and here it's stretching.
Yeah.
That's my vision. You understand? My vision is to come back and help build home strong, not just to come there
Come back.
and just lamp.
Come where? Go home. You mean go back?
Yeah, go home, build home.
Yeah.
So home is we talk about home the same way we talk about here.
Yeah.
And greater than here, because it can be.
Other thing is back in the day just used to be. I think they still do it in like the Asian community, Jewish community, where it's not just your family.
This is my point about community.
Your cousins are living with you, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how it is back home.
We did that, but us struggled doing that still.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like, whereas they had homes and they were comfy. Yeah. We did that.
You've got the big yard.
We did that.
Cuzzy.
No, but that's different. Yeah. Like,
I've been living with Cuzzy for 5-10 years.
But that's different, because in terms of outing, it was like, it's a flat. And we got Cuzzy, we got Auntie. Like, nah.
Everyone's trying to just sort themselves out before anything.
It's mad still. I think it's just important because I think at the end of the day, everyone's gonna raise their children differently. But I think I'm gonna go off guidelines and principles that are both ancient and modern, because everything comes around full circle. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, I'm dealing with the modern world, but I'm going back to get a few of the ancient principles, them that we've forsaken, to help my child navigate who they are, who they will be, what their role is in society.
Only one thing you would advise your child. If they're being brought up here.
One thing to advise my child.
That's quite wow. That's a big.
Please can I have a second to think about that?
Yeah, and same with you. One thing you want, like, it don't have to be the main thing, but it has to be one thing. One thing that you. Do you know what I'm saying? A lesson that you've learned growing up, that you now want to. Even me, a lesson I've learned growing up, which I now want to teach to my kids.
You want to go first?
Can I give 2?
Nah, I ain't got one yet.
Can I give 2?
One is fine, yeah.
No, I can say one, but it's because one is important to me. The other one is something that I've thought about recently and kind of linked to the discussion we've just had now.
Do the initial one.
Yeah, just do the first one.
And then we'll
I say just like, don't be, and this is just how I've grown up in my experience. Just don't be afraid to be like yourself, but like in terms of being,
that's an important point.
No, as in, because as a youth, and me specifically, I didn't know myself growing up like that. But there was moments to yourself where you're,
I don't think a lot of us.
No, yeah, you wouldn't. I'm saying you wouldn't, but there's things that you might.
Slid in my hair and
Yeah,
that.
you was wild.
So
Turn around and die.
You was actually on that. You was actually on that.
No, I had the mohawk thing.
Yeah, you was wild.
Mohawk thing. I need to see that. Wait, I feel like you showed me actually.
Is it a picture? I don't even have the picture.
I didn't. But I want to see it.
She's gonna have that.
Yeah.
She's gonna have that.
Yeah. No, but sorry, my point. Even though I didn't have like an idea of who I was at the time, I still had things, interests, like hobbies, things that I like loved and things that I would have wanted to get into, but I was so afraid of, and it's circumstances just growing up that were out of my control. But there were just people and other things telling me, you know, don't be this or don't be that.
What exactly were you afraid of, if you can talk about it?
Oh, just people judging me. Just other people's opinions.
But who judging you?
Just anyone, bro. Like, that just was my circumstance. Wow. That was just my circumstance growing up. Like, you know, just how I was brought up and the spaces I was in put me into a headspace where, like, I feared essentially a lot of people's opinions about me. Like,
As in random people?
Not necessarily random people, but people around
you cared
me.
about.
Yeah, or not even necessarily cared about, but people who opinion.
Knew you.
I just had a very
Yours is similar to mine, by the way. But
self-esteem just was low to the point where I valued so many other people's opinions above mine. It's sad, but I would just tell my child, look, like if anyone else, be you.
I respect that. That's
you know what I mean. That's the first one. I don't know if you lot want to go through yours. Go on.
One, you know, is how I got so many, but
the one that stuck out.
Be responsible.
What, accountability?
Be responsible. You are a representative of a glorious, esteemed people. Carry yourself like that. You are
representing my surname.
you are of.
Carry yourself correct.
You are of a lineage that's divine, bro.
Come on.
You get me? Like, man, have to act according. And I've had to ingrain that in my mind of like, I have to carry myself a certain kind of way. And I need to do that. So my son's going to be the better version of me. It doesn't have to be a son. Like, it could be a daughter. My daughter's going to be an empress, bro. You know them way there. Like, it's going to, the line of divine, they have to follow.
Look at him. Just release the song.
Man said, get back in the booth.
Spotify,
I'm with it. Is waiting. YouTube music,
Tidal,
I'm waiting. But
I'd say mine's similar to that. Well, mine's more similar to Jay's, but just like, I just tell them not to conform. Like, do not.
But that's me as well, though. You didn't know my thing. My thing is that.
I mean, from the basics to the top. Whether it's just because your brethren are doing something, or just because you see something on the ground, or just because you know what I'm saying, just because they're doing that, doesn't mean you need to do that.
Okay, 100%.
You know what? It's mad. I told myself, man, because I've always been naturally not rebellious. You know what I mean? Do my own thing.
I was gonna say there's some people that naturally just don't.
I do
actually
it.
Conform to that.
I do it, but then in school, because I was trying to fit in, 100%. I tailored in a little bit.
The system will tell you. Yeah.
No, this is to my friendship group. But now I'm so comfortable with myself. No. But but
that's how you grow up, bro.
But I'm like,
but sometimes those experiences are so peak that if you conform too far, you might not be able to conform.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
God forbid,
I just want,
you know what I'm saying? God forbid you pass. God forbid something happens because that wasn't you, but you were playing that role.
Play the game.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't want my child to have to play the game. Because I've now played it. My parents have played it. My grandparents have played it. It's disgusting, bro. Playing the game is nasty. As in, the game, the corporate game, the race game, all these things.
I feel like I've only started to learn the game now.
I'm still learning. And it's
disgusting. Last year.
I feel like I thought I knew it, and it's so deeper than what it is.
When I was younger, I thought I knew it.
Didn't know it. I didn't know it.
Even now, I'm still learning.
And just the levels of wickedness and how people genuinely think they don't know they're doing wickedness, but they are.
Hey, Jerry, hit us with the last one.
Last one. Know yourself. Know your history. Know your culture. Because that's integral to like who you are, not only your family, your community, but going forward as well. When my kids have kids, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like you still want to?
Oh, 100%. That's got to be for me to instill with my children as well. And then for them to then go
But
and find out
you
for them.
yourself, do you still feel like you've still got a lot to...
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Have you been?
Yes and no.
I know you've been going back to the motherland.
Yes. And
Have
I've
you
been
asking questions? Have you been researching? Have you been going
asking questions. The research bit I could do better at, for sure. I think it's more not only just like finding out these things, but also behaving within that. Because once you know certain things, it's like you can't ignore it now. Certain aspects of how we're supposed to act or how we're supposed to be and where we've come from. Yeah. It's like now you're in this space with the white people and you just I have to carry on and, you know, act like what they've now said to me or what I'm hearing is not.
I want my child to never code switch in their life, bro.
Bro,
I swear that
we're gonna put them in positions so they don't have to, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
No, 100%.
Yeah. We're gonna have to be successful, so we can put them.
It's not even just a success thing. It's just like I don't want anyone's child of my community to have to do that. It's not just about my own child.
You need to start from somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. It's starting. That's what I'm saying. That's just the way I'm looking at it. It's like why? Like why aren't we so proud and happy of our own culture? Why can't we come in a place and we're just naturally loud and vibrant people? Why is that a bad thing?
That's what I mean.
Who told us that was a bad thing? Do you know what I mean?
And we know.
And even then, yeah. Who told us we were loud? Whose measurement are we loud by?
Are you not quiet? Are you not quiet?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. But that's the narrative, and as soon as it gets controlled by groups of people, yeah. But I think that's a good place to wrap up at. You know, then way there.
I've enjoyed.
I sort of didn't even intro this, but I couldn't do that next episode. It's calm.
But yeah, man, Experimentation podcast. You know, we just jumped in straight. I love this conversation, and we'll definitely come back again.
Yes.
And before we leave,
it's been lovely to be here.
Jerry needs to apologize to the fans.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
quickly.
Yeah, I was missing last episode. Still.
Oh, were you?
Oh, you was missing.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
What is it?
missing.
Missing. You remember that, GG?
I know you guys missed me, so apologies.
Oh no, we didn't.
I said.